Hey, hello again, and in case you missed it yesterday, like I missed it yesterday, we are on the ground here. This is the new Chitose Airport in or just close to Sapporo on Japan's Hokkaido Island, northernmost island. And I say missed it because yesterday we flew here and had a beautifully flown, hand-flown departure and climb all the way up to top of climb from Tokyo. And then, starting at top of descent, we hand flew the entire thing all the way down, flew the star perfectly, hit all our targets perfectly. Airplane was performing perfectly, pilot was performing perfectly, and then at the last minute, yours truly blew through. The localizer ended up about 5 miles to one side of it, and then I had to do an awkward circling approach, not to the civilian side of the airport here, but to the military side of the airport right here. Now, as I understand it, it looks like now there are terminals on both sides, and both sides are used for civilian operations, but nonetheless, the large concrete 13,000-foot runway was about all I could manage. Instead of being on the localizer for 19 left right over there, we went clean through it, and we ended up right about there, scratching our virtual heads, asking what became of our situational awareness. The answer was it vanished. I followed the flight director, if you look at the video, and the flight director stayed centered, and I didn't notice that my raw data for the localizer was slipping farther and farther and farther away. Mode confusion, perhaps, I'm not sure, but in any case, we screwed up something fierce. So I try and make up for it today, and we actually better make up for it today, because if we don't navigate carefully, we'll be in some deep waters. We're going to Petropavlovsk on the Kamchatka Peninsula, Russia, and there's a whole lot of sensitive stuff and a whole lot of military stuff around there, and everybody's kind of touchy, not touchy-feely, just touchy. And this is going to be the last step in our around-the-world journey in one variety of airplane or another. Before we hit the United States again, we're going to hit the airport, I think, as our next stop at Shemya, the very, very, very western tip of the Aleutian Island chain. So, at any rate, we're gonna pile plenty of fuel on for this flight right now. We're going to assume 5,000 pounds for the climb, 5,000 for the cruise per hour. Lots and lots of diversionary fuel. It's about a 900-mile flight, and wow, that truck's going fast. So let's get going here. Get a little fuel on board. Let's load in a good hefty whack of it. Just want a lot of endurance here, just in case. That's probably on the excessive side. But you never know what you're going to find. All right, so let's get ourselves porked up here. Let's just see what we can do here. Okay, this is about as hefty as you'd want to get a 737-300 probably. But you know, we got big cargo, we got big dreams, we got big plans. So get ourselves down to the CDU, and we'll enter our gross weight of 156.3. Hubba hubba. And I think you need to do this for V1 purposes, but I am not V-speed purposes, but I'm not sure. For reserves, we'll go 8. For cruise index, we'll go 85. For cruise altitude, we'll go 310. ISA deviation, 20 is +5. Okay. Accept. Should it be 20 or should it be 5? It should be 20. I think. So always screws me up. Alright. Transition altitude, this is still Japan. 14,000. Okay. No derate on the takeoff. We will see if we can do climb 1, derate on the climb. Flaps 5. Look at those V-speeds. Holy crap. Alright, we may just have to use the long runway on this one. I think we will. Let me just very quickly get our C of G in here, which still doesn't pick up from here automatically. So, let's see. 10.7 aft. Oh boy. It's going to be slow to climb, slow to rotate. Look at all the trim it needs. 4.6. So almost at the rearward limit. That's about right. Let us see. I think what we should do is definitely use the big one. So our taxi route then is going to be pushback nose right and go all the way around the perimeter and all the way out here, because we're gonna use real estate. No doubt about that. Anyway, let me just put the mic down for 1 second. I have to get my iPad because naturally X-Plane still isn't playing well with Windows 10. Or probably vice versa. So stand by. Okay, back with... Ooh, the New York Times has obtained Donald Trump's 1995 tax records. They they suggest he could have paid no federal income tax for 18 years. That must be nice. Awesome. Cool. If I ever did that, I think I'd end up doing about 18 years in some federal penitentiary. Oh well. All I had to do was say I pay a lot of taxes, and it wouldn't have mattered whether it's federal, state, local, real estate, wouldn't have mattered. All you had to do. Alright, let's see. But who am I to tell somebody how to run a presidential campaign? I can't even tell this plane how to fly. Alright. RJCC to UHPP load plan. Alright. We're going to use... There are a couple SIDs here that are appropriate to get us out of here into the north. There's... Most of them involve using radio nav aids because we're going to be hand flying it and hand flying out ourselves. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the RNAV SID because I can't think of a good reason not to. So let me just call up my clips here from Navigraph charts, which I cannot figure out how to update on the fly. So I have to exit out of it and get back into it. Clips. There we go. Alright, very slick. The star we're going to be using is, the star, Jesus. The SID we're going to be using is, we'll give the, okay, this is the non-RNAV one, and this one is the tempo. I believe we're going to be doing, oh, don't tell me I didn't put it in here. There we go. The Patrish 1, if you can say that sober. But I believe what we really want to do is we want to take off on the big ass runway, which I believe calls for a different set of stars, because I believe it's actually technically a different airfield. So just pull that sucker up. It's Chitose instead of New Chitose. So let's get that sucker up. Indeed it is. It's an entirely separate airfield, even though they are sort of joined at the hip. So we want to go off of, this is interesting, we're going to be sitting on the ground at RJCC, but we're going to be taking off from RJCJ, which is literally a taxiway away. It's kind of weird, but what are you going to do? Alright, so we will do this. We'll set our origin instead as RJCJ and see if it's in the database. That's very strange. Wonder if there's an analog in this country. RJCJ. And we're going to UHPP. Wherein you have to watch me thumper around on a keyboard here. Alright, UHPP, we're going to be going off of runway, whatever the longest damn runway they've got here, because I'm going to bet our takeoff run is going to be a good 9,000 feet. Alright, we're going to be going off of 18 left. Okay. Done and dusted. Route, departure, arrival, departure, and I believe we want one of the Curus family SIDs, but let's double check. Wow, that's convoluted. That's weird. No, we don't want a Curus SID. That's a Navaid SID. Don't want it. Can I get an RNAV SID? Can I buy a vowel? Can I do something? Can I get a cream soda? I want to make life easy this time. Let's see. The tempo SID. Let's try that. That sends us off to the south as well. Don't want it. Want to go north. I will bet you the Tempo Hakodate gets us where we want to go. No, I'd be wrong. Tempo Chitose, they all send you off to the south. It's as if they know they don't really want you to go to Russia. Well, that is weird. Tokachi. Wow, they send you all off. Okay, the best this one can do is get me to the east. Are there no northbound SIDS whatsoever coming out of this airport? It's like they're saying, "Oh, you don't want to go there. What are you doing? What's the matter with you?" Okay, south. South. I mean, they spin you around the airport, so I'm guessing you just, at some point, you'll just get vectored off of there. Southwest. South. One lonely one. We want the Kuris 4. Wow. And is there a narrative for it? Yes, there is. Okay, Kuris 4. And it's right in front of us. No transition, that's fine. 18 left, that is correct. Okay. Activate that part of it at least. Yeah, I know. Alright, so from there, it starts to get at least a little bit standard. We're basically going to get onto a oceanic airway. And let's see, we're going to go direct Abe. I wonder if that's named after the former Japanese Prime Minister. Okay, Abe is not listed. Is it obsolete? Looks to be inactive. Okay, the new one is Minembetsu. Same location, different frequency. I guess they phased out one VOR and replaced it with another. Cool. Okay, so that's TBE instead. Interesting. I've seen a few of those. And it probably means something other than what I think. But there we go. It is in the database. That's good. And then Donus. And actually, we don't need Donus. We can just get onto the B932. And we will take that all the way across the ocean. With the Kuril Islands to our right. We'll take that all the way to Otler, which is almost at landfall. Thank goodness. And before you say Otler, I will just preemptively say I hardly even know her. Get that out of the way. Okay, Otler NS, which is an 80 is an NDB, which we can pick up a long distance away, which will at least tell us we're in the neighborhood, and that's really landfall. Okay, direct NS, and then the W214, and then we're in Russia world, which is weird. I don't mean that in a bad way, but the navigational procedures are a little different. Charts look a little different. And we'll take that to Osnod. And you can look this up yourself on the vector of skies. And then the W214. And we're gonna truck on into Petropavlovsk with that. So probably could have just specified the W214 all the way to Orvos. So let's do that. W214 clear. Let's see if we can delete this. Nope. Delete this. There we go. Okay, so we'll do the W214, and we'll do that all the way to Orvos, and let's see what that gets us. Alright. Oh, look, when Gizmo doesn't crash, you can save the route. So let's do it. Let's do RJCJ, RJCJ. This is due for a big update, by the way. So, UHPP. I was trying to save the route on the last flight. Did not work. There, done. Okay, good. That's lovely. Alright, for our arrival, look at this, GLS. That is, I believe that's Russian GPS stuff. ILS, okay. There is an RNAV, but we are going to use this ILS. And let's see what transition we want to use. Make it sound so fun, don't I? Hey, let's check on our transitions. Oh, yeah. Those wacky transitions. Alright. ILS 34 left. I believe 34 right is actually closed. There should be big X's on it. Alright, we want... Let's do straight into Rhinet, because we're coming from the south. That would make sense. Good. Okay, Rhinet. Alright. Activated, executed, cleared. Done. Route, takeoff. Boom. Boom, boom, pow. And our trim is set back wrong where it should not be, so I have to reset it. Ground services, COG 10.7. Luckily, mechanically, it's set right. It's just set wrong right now in here. 4.6. And we should be at about 4.6. And we are. And I love the sound that that makes. Alright, so as you can see, our V-speeds are gargantuan. And it's a good thing it's not too hot here. So, V1 is, wow, 161. This is going to be crazy. These suckers to 80. I almost don't know what to make of this, but this is the problem with 737s. If this were a 757, they'd be 20 knots lower. So that's our cleanup speed. V1 is 161. And VR is 163. This is like an old DC-8 or something. And V2 is a healthy, tire-killing 168 knots. Holy crap. Alright. Yep, flight director on, captain priority. At the moment, we will just get our get our SID up here. And I don't even have it up here. Gotta love it. There we go, RJCJ, and we're using what, the chorus for. Alright, we'll do it as an RNAV overlay. Let's quickly check our flight plan. Pop this sucker into plan mode. Bearing in mind that in the 300, that knob is right there, which is a much nicer place for it to be. Okay, there we go. Make sure the range is there. Now that we're looking at it, get rid of our decision heights. We are using decision altitudes, like real aviators. Alright. And we'll step through our plan, so go to legs. I'm saying many of these things just to remind myself here to fly, because it's been so long since I have flown this. So, okay. We want to get the VOR for Che put in, but we're doing it as an overlay. We're just going to fly the magenta line right now because I can't be bothered. Want to do some flying. Want a half of a chance of getting it right, so we'll pretend it's an RNAV procedure instead of tuning in. What you technically have to do is you would tune in CHE, which is the Chitose VOR, and then you would fly the 011 radial to Kuris, and well, that's it. You just fly that radial. I mean, hell, we can plug it in. What is it, 124.7? You know, how bad could it be? That's not 124.7, obviously. Because that's not a nav freak. It is... Checking 1169, so I'll plug that sucker in. It's not an onerous SID. We'll plug in 011. We'll turn this to something with a compass rose that we can see. There's our radial right there. We could also plug in a fix here and put a line off of it. Not gonna bother. Wouldn't be prudent, not gonna do it. Check our altitude restrictions on the SID. We're in the boonies once we head north from here. I would tend to bet that anything goes. Okay, so, yeah. Basically, starting at 500 feet, make the turn to the right, intercept the 011 radial to Kuris. I'm going to put this back in map mode because not much point to that. So basically, we're just going to fly it to Kuris, and then we're going to make a series of turns and end up eventually going to the north. one would hope. So here we go. Back into plan mode. Stick that sucker right down there. Zip. Step. Step. Turn. Turn. Onto our airway over the ocean. Orvas, Rhina, got a discontinuity right there. We can get rid of it. That'll be fine. And step. And step. And that's our missed approach. Alright, looks good. And we don't really have any altitude restrictions to speak of. Just clear ourselves straight up. And we will take off in the mighty nav mode, but we can't pre-arm that on the ground, so we'll do heading. Select runway heading is 182. Get that plugged in. Okay, runway heading is set. Get our weather. And let's see where we are for our weather here. Good, we got a 14 knot headwind at least to help us coming down the runway. 1016. 1016. 1016. And 1016. Get our asses into map mode. Pull our range out ever so slightly. Alright, flight directors set, V-speed set, initial mode set, cruising altitude set. Right now we should be taking power off the APU, and we are. That's cool. Start on left ignition tonight. Position light should be on already. 310 should be set. Okay, we got the APU bleed going. Don't really need it. Okay, our left and right packs are off. You know, one of them can be on auto and we can still start. Alright. Turn our window heats on. Pedostatics on. Right. We are actually going to need our center fuel pumps. We've got lots of fuel this time. Alright, I think we're good to push back, and I think we want to push back nose. Wow, there's a lot of crap here. Let's just push straight back. So push straight back, and then we're going to go around this perimeter. This looks a lot like Dallas-Fort Worth. Look at that. We'll head all the way out yonder over there. So this is going to be fun, ladies and gentlemen. Fun, I tells you. Brake on RTO. Turn on our beacon here. There we go. Let everybody know we're doing our thing. Call for the push. And we'll push straight back. Release the brakes, it will say. So it will. Back comes the jetway. Look at that. Very nice. And back we come. Alright, start number 2. Note the pressure drop right there. Monitor the N2 speed. When we get to 20, we'll give it some fuel. There we go. And up we come. We'll watch the temps rise. Do a little spectator thing. See what kind of clearance we're going to get here. Basically, the way you stop this thing is by putting on the brakes. Which we'll do right about now. And we'll start number 1. Got ignition cut out on number 2. Throw taxi lights on. Alright, at 15, 16. There we go. And up we go. Because we're looking at it, we'll radar on. Turn on terrain. Boom. There we go. Get this for COM 1. Show airport. And route data. Turn on our transponder. Check that TCAS is fine. Adjust our rudder trim so it's in the middle. Check our takeoff trim. Check our controls. Check our start. And it is good. It is awesome. It is lovey-dovey. There we go. Good looking airport. All right. Check upstairs. Off comes the APU. Oh, I'm an idiot. Should have switched my power over first. Let's see how much I broke. Damn it. Okay, Gen 2's going. Gen 1 is going. Packs can come to auto. Bleeds can be on. APU bleed can be off. Pressurization can go to flight. What have I screwed up? Auto brake has to be recycled. Recycle the flight director. That was kind of stupid. Bugs set up a little bit better here. Alright, let's see. See if our takeoff speeds are still in there. They are. Okay, good. That's all well and good. Give this to the first officer to monitor our takeoff speeds. Done and dusted. Alright. Flap set, trim set. Clear to the left. Clear to the right. A little bit delicate turn here. There we go. As we make our way around this magnificent perimeter and get a look at some of the airplanes from far and wide here, as we trundle, and I do mean trundle, out to our very long active runway. And I know this from yesterday, it's got quite a long displaced threshold. Not quite doing a southwest taxi, but we'll get there with a certain amount of due dispatch. It's a big terminal. There's our southwest taxi. In the meantime, we should all the things that got reset here. Alright, as we head out to the military side of things. Where they take things seriously. Go there. And we'll just make our way out this way now. And as you can see, this appears to be a big cargo area. There's EVA Air and Korean Cargo. That looks like just a Cathay passenger liner. It's hard to say. So we're going to hand fly this up to cruise, and then we'll cut the video because it's such a long cruise, and hand fly it down to the arrival. Because there's no reason not to. I was lecturing on the subject before, and of course I screwed it up, so it's also a chance to redeem myself. Just checking our engine temps and things. They all look normal. Left engine's vibrating a little bit more than the right, but this airplane has character. Just test the brakes here. They work. Now, if you think we're taxiing slowly, wait till you see us try to take off. I'll tell you that much for free. This is going to be an epically long roll. The vodka burner will be rolling. Only a question of whether I identify correctly the beginning of this runway. Is it here or is it there? That's a high-speed turnoff. Although if you're going well, it's actually a high-speed turn on. That sounds kind of hot. As we clip along at 32 knots here, that is a Southwest taxi, ladies and gentlemen. Wear the brake pads. That's what you need to do. Give them a little bit of something to fight against. There we are. What an insane thing to be in a 737 and be worried about runway length. Alright, windsock looks good. And let me just show you how long this runway is here. This is almost a 13,500 foot runway. Okay. Get our lights on. Taxi lights off. Turn our strobes on. Tell people to put out their cigarettes, for God's sake. Alright. All our fuel pumps are on. We got juice where we not need juice. Our APU is off. Our sparklers should be on continuous. Anti-ice is on. Hydraulic pumps all on. Pressurization in flight. Packs should be in auto. Verified in auto. Good. Recirc fan auto. We are going to risk bleeds on. It's not going to make... If it makes that much difference, then we need to be on the space shuttle landing strip. Auto throttle now can come on. Heading select on. Flight director set. Set. Wrong priority. Sneaky, sneaky. Captain's priority. Alright. Back again. Heading select. Done. Altitude set. Heading set. Speed set. Course set. Auto throttle armed. Toga power set. And look at how slowly we're rolling. Knots. $120. $140. V1. Rotate. Ooh, as we struggle into the air. The vodka burner is rolling. Okay, we've got a little semi-positive rate of climb. Gear up. 400 feet. We'll go into LNAV. thrust reduction, nose down. Try to clean up. VNav. See how heavy we are? We're right on stick shaker. That's great. Save our cleanup schedule for another minute. I shouldn't have even done a derated climb. Nose down. Now that we're at our cleanup speed, I should have obeyed. Now we can fully clean up. You get spoiled when you have a plane that is ordinarily not operated to this this weight limit here. We're going to have trouble reaching our cruising altitude for a while. But boy, oh boy, is it stable. Yikes. Alright. Trim down a little here. Gear off. Lights off. Pressurization working for a change. Ourselves back on course. And now you can see from a single-handed hand-flying point of view how LNAV and VNav are real labor savers. If I'd simply waited till my clean speed, the VNav obviates me from the necessity of getting into level change or vertical speed mode. It manages speeds for me and lets me fly the plane if I really want to. And now we're climbing nicely and we're coming onto our course. You know, we're not exactly Baryshnikov here, prancing around the skies because we're so heavy. But as you can see, we're on course and we're on speed, perfectly on speed right there. And we're pretty much doing it ourselves. It is not hard to do. Take a look at where we are here, where we are there. I'm pretty much scanning here, 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 and then here. And looking for traffic. And glancing down at the map, and every once in a while also glancing down at the legs page to make sure the right leg really is active. But remember, I don't have to scan to here because I've got that here. So it's mainly this, 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 this. Where I am scanning for here is for that speed bug, which just moved. Because my, notice how my horizontal Q is going to come down a little bit, and I want to know why. I don't want to just blindly follow it. Also, it wants me to speed up, but I don't want to dive, so at the very least, the only thing I want to do is level off or slow down the climb. So I might unilaterally make the decision to stay a little bit above or below that flight director, just because I know if I follow it blindly, it'll make some negative G's or something for passengers. So we'll accelerate, but we'll accelerate just a little bit slower than we would if the autopilot were in control. Okay, so we're above 10. I'm just going to get us on course and get us into the correct turn here and just check our pressurization, because that was a problem last time. It is fine. And this plane is flying like a bit of a pig, which is totally understandable. All right. Gear is off, flaps are up. Lights are off, pressurization is good. Take our seatbelt signs here, tell people they can smoke them if they got them. And jump up and down. And bring ourselves back on course. Down to maintain our speed. And just generally have a big old time. Also glancing down there, because then I can anticipate my turns a little bit, so I don't follow the flight director blindly. Check our engine temps and things. Everything looks good. Our park brakes off. This is Japan HD Mesh, and SkyMax, and Real Weather Connector, and Ventura Sky for the hazy stuff. Looks pretty good. Have a sip of my favorite beverage. Okay, transition altitude. Set standard times 3. And we're just hand flying here. Nothing is going amiss. We're not falling out of the sky. It's just a matter of knowing the airplane's performance and monitoring the systems. And knowing, for example, I mean, we're at the right power setting for a climb, and we're at a decent pitch for this speed. And we'd be doing this even if the computer weren't telling us to do it. We'd be climbing at about this speed. Climb mode is enunciating. And it's basically just taking minor control inputs. That's really it. And minor trim adjustments. It shouldn't be onerous. It shouldn't be dramatic. It's a little bit harder on the descent or the arrival because then you have to get just a better sense of what power settings produce what kind of descent rates and what kind of speeds and things like that. But not only do they make performance tables that tell you that, you'll start to learn it. You'll know that if you're all dirtied up on arrival, you probably want to be at about 55% N1 or something, and that should be at about your approach speed, and that should get you going downhill just about right. Different planes will have different combinations like that, but if you know the plane well enough, you'll just pick it up. My intent here is to take a lot of the drama out of this, which could be my undoing, because then where's the fun in the flying? Of course, you'll see me screw things up like I did yesterday. But, it's not supposed to feel like life or death, because if it did, there'd be a whole lot more people living and dying based on a whole bunch of decisions that pilots make. But this is a beautiful plane to hand fly. It's very simple. Very nice. Predictable. But it's lively. It feels lively in your hands. It actually feels, like you're flying a plane. Now we're heavy. You notice how slowly we're climbing? More modern airliners will have step climbs in them. I bet you that our performance is such right now that we're probably too heavy to reach our cruise altitude. Let's just see. Yeah, you see it says optimum 278, max 292. We can change our cruise altitude, so let's do that. See if we can. Can we? Yes. That'll change our cruise target, because we're not going to make it to 310 at this weight. Now you notice I'm a little bit above the flight director bar, so I'm climbing at a higher rate of climb, but at a slower speed. I'm sort of disregarding it a little bit. Not by much. I just want to get up there a little quicker. We'll burn fuel more efficiently. And we might be able to, I'm almost certain we'll be able to go up to 310 halfway through. On a 777, this would not be a problem. You would just go the hell up. And you'd probably go the hell up at 2,500 feet per minute. So. But we are not a 777. We're just the little engine that could. Nice looking mountains. Let's see what our winds aloft are. We're getting a nice shove. That's good. That is nice. Legs, legs, legs. Where are you, legs? All right, 7,000 to go. Getting blown a little right of track because of that wind. I'm not touching the controls now. I'm now letting it blow us back on track. So you notice how it's commanding a slight turn to the right, but I'm just holding the heading and I'm just going to let it blow us back on course. See how well that works. Well, the wind's coming more from behind us now than from the left, so I'll give it a little bit of help. And instead of climbing at about 300 knots, we're climbing at about 292. Just so we get up there faster as we make our way up through northern Hokkaido and out to sea. See, that's the speed it wants us to fly. So if I follow this flight director down a little bit here and get it level, keep it level, you'll notice now that we start to come up to 300 knots. However, you'll also notice that our rate of climb slows to just about nothing. So I'm going to just disregard it and get us up there. Notice we're barely climbing here. 500 feet per minute. That's like Piper Cub territory. Now I have to be careful here. We're not that high, but we're high enough that the difference between top speed and stalling speed is not that great. So as I sort of monkey around here with trying to climb a little faster, I have to bear in mind that it's easy to stall an airplane in thin air. So keep an eye on that. Again, I'm barely using 2 fingers on the stick here. That's really all we're doing. I do need to reset my MCP altitude, though. There we go. This is the kind of flying you ordinarily wouldn't get to do in a commercial airliner because you'd have radio calls to make, you'd have lots of business to take care of. You'd have navigational stuff, briefings, paperwork, whether to choose the steak or the fish. Wow, we're barely making it up to altitude here. Barely. As we get ready to leave land here, head over the wild blue, wild green. All right, 2,000 away. And we're getting a 105 knot push from our, right about there. As we head out to sea. Making a half a standard rate turn here. Very gentle. And we're almost at our cruising altitude, miraculously. There's our top of climb. We might get there one of these days. Might be a struggle. $500 away. Wow. It's a lot of wind. We're getting hit with 114 knots right now. Jeepers. That is a metric shitload of wind. Alright, we'll just turn on our autopilot. And kick back for a minute and take stock. Look at that, 117 knots. Wow. And it is desperately, valiantly trying to climb the last couple hundred feet. Look at that. Bravo. Wow. Alright, so we're cruising right now at Mach. Well, we'll accelerate. At Mach 0.71, and just look at that wind. That's a lot of wind. Let me just show you on the old zoom live view how much wind that is. Watch and take a look at how twisted we are. Look at that. Look at that. In reality, it might be worth it for us to fly a little farther to the north and then back down in with a tailwind, but wow. That's a lot of wind. Now, let's see. Can we speed up our cruise speed at all? How far are we from Barber Pole? Actually pretty close. Gusty wind, you probably don't want to do that, but let's tempt fate. Let's just start jamming right up against here. Problem is, if there's a little shift in wind, it's going to overspeed us a little bit. It's probably a stupid thing to do. Yeah, I'd say that's stupid. Let's see what the winds are like now. 113. You know what? Let's not do that. Let's not tempt fate. Hello. That would be the first 737 lost over here as we say goodbye to Hokkaido. And I think what I'll do now is, because this flight is nothing but water for a while after this, why don't say goodbye for a bit. We'll pick it up on descent. We're going to do the descent, I think, and the arrival by hand also, just to see if we can do it and not screw it up this time. And I'll see you in a bit. And we're back, about to make landfall on our way into Petropavlovsk here in far, far western Russia. We are very heavy. We brought a lot of fuel with us. We brought a lot of people and cargo with us. Brought a lot of everything. We are going to hand fly this descent down from flight level 310. We managed to float up to 310 after stopping at 290 because of just how porky we were. Anyway, we're about 15 minutes from TOD, and the descent is going to be interesting. First of all, we are going into runway 34 left, the ILS at Petropavlovsk, Kamchatsky. The name of the airport is Yelizovo. I don't know who Yelizov was, but it's named after him or her. Anyway, it is an ILS approach up the harbor and then into and surrounded by some really heavy-duty terrain. 9,200 on the left, 13,005 on the right. It should be stunning, but it's going to be hairy. The missed approach is a very, very tight button hook, and if you'll notice right here, we have our ADF tuned up to 2 different stations, and we've got our RMI set up for 2 different ADFs. This approach plate is unique in my experience, probably not in everyone else's experience, that it calls for dual ADF required. And the reason why is the outer and the middle markers are both NDBs, and the middle marker is going to be an NDB that is going to be used for the missed approach. On the missed approach, you fly runway heading outbound, and then you make a tight 210-degree turn back towards that middle marker, and then you fly outbound after you cross it at 133 degrees to basically escape the valley you're in, and then go back and start the approach all over again, which includes a hold at a 3rd NDB. So they're big on NDBs here. So we've got them both tuned up and both ready to go, and I have to say that's pretty exciting. The minima are pretty normal. That's all good. We're going to be landing very heavy. Transition altitude here is 10. It is a nice long runway. It's about 11,000 feet long. Nicely lit. That's all good. However, the arrival is going to be kind of sporty. Let's just see where we are. We're 109 from TOD. Look at our legs here. And our descent here is all pretty nominal. That's very easy to do. This, on the other hand, coming down 17,000 feet in 34 miles, we are going to have to be riding the speed brakes the entire way. So that is going to be fun. And in the meantime, our landing speeds are going to be pretty high too. At the moment, 159 for flaps 30, 155 for flaps 40, so that's a 160 knot V-ap with flaps 40. So that's going to be fun. Let's just check the weather. Should be interesting all the way around. The crossing was uneventful, but very windy. Anyway, we should be right over Ozernaya, which is right there, or more accurately, right down there. And as you can see, it's going to start to get a little bit bumpy-thumpy here. So, just as long as it doesn't get Trumpy. Weather. Alright, luckily, we don't have much wind. Because you really can't land to the south. So, wind 310 at 02. No problem there. Let's see. Visibility 10. Relatively clear. And QNH1004. Alright, let's see where our TOD is now. I've got our localizer already set. And it's pretty much a straight in onto the localizer. Let me just confirm 1087. 1087, good. Got people seated. Anyway, let's see where we are with respect to the map. Okay, so there is basically our course. We're going to come in this way, or come this way. We're going to do a little button hook. And then come on down. Adjust our bugs here. That's about as close as we're going to get. And, you know, I'm not sure of the relative wisdom when you're heavy of landing flaps 30 versus flaps 40. My rationale is to land us a little slower and save a little bit of brake and tire and distance, and possibly also leave us, you know, it's hard to say which is going to leave us better configured for the go-around. That's a trade-off I'm not really equipped to answer. So I don't know. I have to ask an expert. In other words, slightly higher speed, lower flap setting, yield better go around than slightly slower, higher flap setting. I don't know. I do know I've got heartburn. Hate when that happens. Alright, so our platform altitude, in essence, for intercepting the localizer and glide slope, 3,900. Luckily, there's no terrain as we go down. There is only terrain if we go around. Still should be fun. Alright, 60 miles to TOD. Going at Mach 0.75, which is about as fast as this crate can go. So there we go. After Orvas, we go down 9 flight levels in 48 miles. That's doable. And then we go down 17 of them in 34 miles, which is going to be problematic but fun. I'd give you some wing views, except I don't know how. I don't want to screw around with it. When the day comes that you can fly a plane from row 22, seat 22F, then I'll do wing views. Alright, auto brakes are set. Leave the lights for a moment. Depressurization is fine. Landing elevation should be... Let's see. It's 40th anniversary of Songs of the Key of Life. Got that stuck in my head. That's not such a bad album to get stuck in your head, is it? It's Ebony Eyes, by the way. $128 feet. Looks like for airfield elevation. Is that real? I think so. Alright, close enough for government work. Okay, there's Orvas, and immediately after that will be our TOD. Wow, this is some... I don't think this is HD mesh here, but it is certainly rocky. See how it goes. And we'll see how I end up doing a manual arrival this time. Or at least a flight director assisted manual arrival. Hand flown arrival, whatever you want to call it. Just like I love the hydraulic sounds on the Mighty Saab, I love the trim sounds on this. Let's get our... Alright. We're losing a little bit of weight here, so our V speeds are going to creep down a little bit. That's fine. I have no idea what we're going to find here in the way of an airport, but that's part of the fun, isn't it? This looks like it used to be attached to Alaska, and that's probably because it was at one point. Do not want to do a missed approach here. So we're basically going to bend a right here, and then we're going to make a left over there. Us out of ENAV, which is interesting. 24 miles to TOD. Wonder why it did that. Okay, still there. Still there. Whole nav, VNav, still there. Alright. Square up our heading bug. Now where's our TOD? 20 miles. Oh, I'm on a 20-mile scale, so it should be right there. Get my legs page up, approach ref for our first officer. There's our TOD. And this should be interesting. I'm going to let it manage speed. Okay, fuel is not a problem. That's my center tank. I'll shut off my center tank pumps. Boom. Got plenty of fuel to go anywhere we want after this. And in a second, hang on. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh yeah, look at that. That's pretty damn striking. Oh yeah. Can't really say no to that. Alright, coming up on TOD. Let's just check. Pressurization set, airfield elevation set, seatbelt signs are on. Tell the flight attendants to stop serving cocktails. Crazy Russians. Alright, we're going to have a tailwind, so we're going to have to descend even quicker. We're going to be very quick to put in the speed brake. We really will. We are not going to be shy about that. We're going to be ahead of the airplane because the speed brakes don't do a lot. And down we go. So now I'm going to take out the autopilot. I'll wait till we get established here for a second. Let it trim us out a little bit. Otherwise we'll just balloon up. Okay, out comes the autopilot. Do a little trimming on my own. Get my hand comfortable on the stick. Keeping an eye on our speed, because we're right on barber pole speed. Which means it's probably going to ask for some drag. I'm keeping it a little bit above profile here. You know what? Out can come the boards. Get us a little more sink here and a little less speed. We're right on the hairy edge. There's no sense in stressing the airframe. So now we're going to have a big turn coming up. And there's our descent profile right there. You can see we're a little bit above it. That's that target right down there. But we're trying to keep our speed in a little bit here. Alright, that's good enough. Now, speed brakes are not going to have as much impact at high altitude as low altitude because the air is pretty thin. Although, you know, I'm not sure because the added speed may make up for it, so I'm not sure if that's true. They might have a constant profile all the way down. I don't know. Alright, so here we come on that turn, and you can see we're right on our descent profile. That's that little purple thing right there. And I'm just waiting for that turn. And here comes our turn. Roll into a standard rate turn here. That's about right. Again, I'm making some pretty minor adjustments here. We're in VNav and LNav still, but we're flying it. That's the only difference, really. And we're looking for this little thing to blink here. When it blinks here and it says FMC message, that means it wants drag. But so far it doesn't want drag, and we're right on our profile. And we're going to be turning into the wind, so that's going to help us as well on our descent. So our first constraint, oh, we're already through it. So now at Pino here, now we have to get our asses down. So I'm going to put in some drag. We have to get our asses down to 5,000 in the next 32 miles. And you see it's telling us it does want drag. I'm just going to clear that because we're giving it to it. Look at that. Look at that. Now, I'm not going to force the issue because we're right at our barber pole speed, so I can't really go down any quicker than this. But look at the way we're shedding speed here. I mean, the way we're shedding altitude. Okay. Returning to our next fix. And I'm going to set standard altimeter right now while we can. Not standard, I'm setting field. Go. Okay, we're at 15. At 24 miles to run, we got to come down 10, so now we're good. But we also have to lose speed. And it says VNav disconnect. So let's reconnect it. Sometimes in a turn like that, that's what it'll do. We got drag. We got drag going. Exciting stuff. We're coming down at 4,000 feet per minute at barber pole speed. Overspeeding. All right. That's as fast as we can come down. Reconnect the VNav and check that we're still on course, and we are. And now we really need to slow down. We definitely need to slow down. And I can't even drop the gear. This is not like This is not like an MD-80. And I can't bring down the flaps. There's really not much I can do at this point, except just let the thing settle. Bring up the nose just a little bit. Now that we're on profile, now we can do that. We're going to trim up for a slower speed. And there we go. How do you like that, kids? Pretty exciting stuff. Alright, auto brakes are set. Landing lights can come on. Just a little bit to the right of track. We'll fix that in a second. Don't have my localizer yet, but we'll get there. Trimming up a little. We're on profile. There's the harbor. We are slowing, barely. We still have our speed brakes out. It's overcast. Okay, we're right on the money. Okay. But we're still fast. And it's still keeping us fast. No, its throttles are retarded, so to speak. But we're stubbornly fast, and I can't bring out any flaps yet. It's because we're heavy. I can't even bring out flaps 1 here. Okay, there's the localizer. In a second, we're going to turn to intercept it. Come on. Alright, I'm going to overspeed a little bit here. Bring out flaps 1. In a second, I'll be able to bring out flaps 5. And I'm still to the parallel. We do have a turn. Okay, good. Arm our approach. There we go. There's the glide slope. Okay. Approach is armed. And please, 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 please. I'm gonna have to speed intervene here. Or not. Alright, flaps 5. There we go. Okay, on an intercept for the localizer, please. I'm using the raw data now because it has not captured. There we go. Good. We've captured the localizer. Good. We are slowing. Good. Geared down now. Here comes the loc. Come on. There we go.
2,500.
Okay. Loc coming in. Fully configured. Come on. This plane is a pig at this speed. Okay. Established on the Loc. Flaps full. Gear down. 3 greens. Approach is armed, yes. Come on. Go. Getting no glide slope. And deviating far too much from the localizer. Okay, here comes the glide slope. Glide slope captured, please. Yes. Okay. There we are. That took a long time to get established. And is still looking pretty ugly. Dot high. Come on. That was really ugly. All right, 1,500 feet, check. Speed brakes armed. Gear down, 3 greens. What? No! Jesus. Did you see that? It's a hell of a thing to happen. Okay, my throttles. My runway. Now we are landing on 3-4 left. 3-4 right's supposed to be closed. No pappies. And shorter. Let's use 3-4 right. Oh, that was sweet. And look at this landing run. Look at this. Look at this. Manual braking. Whoa. Alright, that was just pretty sweet, so we gotta see that again. Alright, so we discover maybe we're not dressed for success. Oh, look at those MiGs. Check that out. So, snap decision. Gut check time. I really thought that dialog box was going to kill us. And look at that. Sweetness. There we go. Barely even felt it. That's pretty goddamn slick. Look at this airbase here. Wow. I'm glad we didn't have to go around. So there's our too short runway. Oh yeah. And, of course, the obligatory Hawaii 5-0 shot. There we go. Okay. Right from the side step point there. Oh yeah. I don't know why I take an inordinate amount of glee in this. Having far too much fun. Yeah, can we request 3-4 right, please, comrade? Beautiful. So on that note, as we taxi past the ancient MiGs here, see, that would have been the end of the runway. That would have been the end of us. The next stop is going to be Shemya, Alaska, back in the good old US of A. So, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. And got a little sloppy at the end, but we made up for it, I think. And see you real soon. Bye-bye.